Welcome, love. This is Sex, Drugs, and Sound Bowls, and I'm Jessie Siren, here to stir the cauldron with raw psycho-spiritual talks on healing, plant medicine, sex, motherhood, and the sacred chaos that cracks us open and lights the way forward. Expect deep truth and raw feels that leave you inspired, held in your humanness, and ready to take your rightful place as the creator of your own experience. With a deep breath and an open heart, let's be all the way here now. Look at this light. Hello and welcome back to Sex, Drugs, and Sound Bowls. I'm your fairy godmother. I'm Jessie Siren, and as always, I'm here to report mid-process, mid-mush, mid-chrysalis. And today we're here with a cup of horsetail tea. In the good old Pacific Northwest, horsetail is growing abundantly in swampy meadows, along riversides, riverbanks, and lakesides, and in swampy ditches alongside the road. Maybe avoid using those swampy ditch horsetails for medicinal purposes, but this green is one of the most silica-rich greens on the planet Earth. And silica, my friends, is a precursor to all of the things we're trying to superficially treat, right? To get that glass skin. It's a precursor to collagen synthesis and keratin and hyaluronic acid production. And basically, in layman's terms, it is everything you want for your hair, for healthy and vibrant and beautiful hair, skin, nails, teeth, bones, joints. It can also really pack a punch and be hard on the kidneys and liver if you consume too much too often. So I work with these plants when they're out in the wilds. I work with them seasonally. In the spring, I work with horsetail. Maybe I'll flash in a little picture of my little pot with horsetails and what they look like growing alongside the bank. So you can go out and forage and hunt for some yourself. Horsetail tea. So first up, I want to show you what's on my windowsill. I was cleaning up back here so it would be a little more spacious, a little less dump truck vibes. And I just was like noticing my windowsill is full of so many magical things right now. Things that I think would be a joy to share with a friend. So I'm going to show you what's on my windowsill, and then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to tell you about this beautiful opening I'm having right now, awareness, awakening I'm having right now. Okay, 1 second. Exciting item number 1, tooth powder. So if you do a simple internet search, you'll find about 1 million different ingredients you can mix and blend into your own tooth powder. This one in particular has some like bentonite clay, some French green clay, some calcium made from the eggshells of our pastured and happy chickens, and some sage for teeth whitening. It's got some like ground up Himalayan salt, which has like 80 plus minerals in it for tooth remineralization and antibacterial qualities. So many amazing things. But I just put this in a little jar in the bathroom, and with a dry toothbrush, scoop it out, brush the teeth. I've helped my entire family to reverse cavities. My mom is watching her cavities in real time shrink down. Her dentist is watching that happen too. It is incredible what you can do when you just swap out that like food coloring, glycerin, tooth wrapping crap at the store for something simple and cheap. It's pennies to make. This right here is some green onions that I used last week, and you can see down here where it's brown. That is the cut line where I cut them off, and then I popped the little roots here into this glass jar with some fresh water, and I just been swapping the water out every day for fresh water. Oh, I just broke that one. And these little guys have been growing. Look how much they grew. And this right here is soul water. And it is incredible for so many things. And it ties into what this is right here. So this is one of the ways we naturally remineralize our bodies and replenish electrolytes. There are, I think, 85 plus trace minerals to be found in this salt, and it's super bioavailable because when you dissolve, basically I filled this jar up about halfway with a mixture of Celtic sea salt and Himalayan pink salt, giant chunks, and then put some distilled water, or purified water in here, and then left it in the sun. Shook it up really good, left it in the sun until it all dissolved. And then when all the salt dissolved, I added a little bit more salt in. And when all that salt dissolved, I added a little bit more in, and I kept adding until it stopped dissolving, and now this is where we are. And this water now is like a 26% salt solution, and it is just super easy for your body to process and digest and absorb those beautiful natural minerals. And that brings me to the next magical thing in the counter. This, Indio has a little cavity right now. It's actually a really bad cavity. He got it about 6 months ago, and I've been watching it, and his gums have been pink and healthy, and his tooth and all of his other teeth have looked good. But he woke up with a little bit of like inflammation around that tooth and in the gums. And so I took some of this salt solution, put it in this cup with warm water, and had him swish and spit with it. And it's incredible because it works as antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's infusing, right, those teeth with those trace minerals I was just talking about. And it's also really incredible for easing inflammation and helping the body to naturally heal quickly. So, okay. That's all for this episode of What's in My Windowsill. Also notice this beautiful penny backsplash I've been working on day and night. Hi, Darth Vader, or whoever you are. Wu Wei. It is a central concept of Taoism. And just, in all my years of monkeying around with Taoism and Buddhism and yoga, this concept, it haunts me like an angel on my shoulder, reminding me to relax my shoulders and open the energetic channels of my body, and allow the energy of life to just work its magic. Essentially, Wu Wei is effortless action. And the vision that conjures when I hear this phrase, when I think of this phrase, is that of a flower. And when the flower has everything it needs, when the time to blossom comes, it just blossoms. There's no pushing, there's no efforting, there's no trying. When the energy is there, the action becomes Wu Wei, effortless. For me, it's an energy that runs through the passion, right? The seed of your heart's desire. For me, it's action that is ignited through the passion of your soul's truest and deepest desire. And it's a softening and opening to the current, the energy of life, that allows whatever we create, whatever we're here to do in this planet, to feel effortless. Like when I'm writing a song and I'm in that state of surrender, of presence, and I'm doing it because I love it, it almost feels like an excavation. I don't have to work to think about what word comes next. It just reveals itself to me. So yesterday, I'll start by saying in the past few years, there has been some baggage, some ancestral baggage from generations and generations back that has been swept under the rug, not talked about, kept in the shadows, that all of a sudden has been brought into the light on both sides of my family. And this has been cataclysmic. Everything has exploded. I don't even know where my family is, who my family is. I don't know where they are. I've been slowly trying to pick up the pieces and find out what connections feel safe and true and authentic and nourishing, and which roots are better to let wither. But yesterday, I met with a beloved family member, somebody I haven't seen in a couple years just because of all of this cataclysmic energy. And I got there 40 minutes early so that I could regulate my nervous system, find a good spot, have a cup of something warm, and journal a little bit. And I didn't know what I was going to journal. I sat down, grabbed my pen, and started to just reflect on the confusion I was feeling. The rupture that brought us to the moment where we were going to meet at this coffee shop and finally speak after years of not speaking was an angry letter, a righteous, rage-filled, volcanic, energetic letter that somebody else in the family had sent out. And as I sat there, this phrase, this concept came through to me, Wu Wei. And I wondered, is war Wu Wei? Is fighting energy Wu Wei? Because up until that point, yesterday at this coffee shop, I had only ever considered the magic, the power, the beauty of Wu Wei in the light, in the more feminine or energetic, yin energetic way. The art of softening, the art of blossoming, the art of writing a song, right? And as I was journaling here, I asked that question. I said, what is Wu Wei? And I'm just going to read it out here. It's probably going to be a little bit silly, cringy, but whatever. I said, is it ever the answer to fight? Is war or fighting energy Wu Wei? Is it effortless and yet fiery action? Oh, wow. I feel in my bones a dawning awareness. Wu Wei encompasses the blooming in the springtime meadow as much as it encompasses the eruption of the raging volcano, or a roaring forest fire, or a great flood. And as I was sitting there, I was just having this experience of feeling like nothing could have been any other way than it was. I think we're deprogramming, we're unraveling this belief culturally that it gives good girl energy, that we should be always nice and kind, and our voice should always, have the hum of a lullaby. And even if you're frustrated, that you could come forward with compassion and grace and love. But when I look at nature, as I was sitting here, all of this is rushing in the span of like 5 minutes. As I look at nature, right? Nature, the nature of the world outside of us. It does not listen to shoulds and should nots. And instead does not bow to the overculture's standards of what is good or right, but just is. I thought of a volcano erupting, and I thought of a raging forest fire, and I thought about how only through burning it all down, only through the rich, fertile soil that comes through the ash, does new life, does the cycle of life perpetuate. I thought about great floods. And in my head, these things were correlating to righteous rage and to deep grief, watery grief, fiery rage. And I thought, we need it all. We need it all. And I tell my boys this all the time, and I'm trying to remember, it isn't special that you fuck up. It isn't special that you messed up. It isn't special that you hurt your brother. It's not unique. In this life, each of us will cause harm, either unconsciously or consciously, every single day. Every day. You're gonna step on a bug. You're gonna not make eye contact with somebody who tried to smile. You're going to text the wrong thing, say the wrong thing. You're going to be in a bad mood and say something short to your partner. Those things are gonna happen. That's just life. That is human. And to try not to cause harm, to the best of our ability, maybe, but to consider that you could be ultimately good and pure and not cause harm, that's another conversation, but would be a tireless task. It would hemorrhage all your energy. But I tell them, like, the thing that's interesting, the thing that's unique, the thing that's special is that you make it right. You boys, when you fight, when you hurt somebody, when you mess up, that you get your heart right, you get your heart straight, and then you make it right. And sometimes, these karmic patterns that have been playing out for so long, sometimes they need a fucking volcanic eruption, right? I felt like the only reason me and this beautiful person who I love and want to be in relationship finally fucking nailed down a time to meet face to face and share, each of us, our side of the story and the experience, was because of this volcanic eruption. Sometimes we need the power and the energy of a great fire or a great flood to unlock us, to unlock the cage of patterns that just keep playing themselves out, right? To carve new channels, new ways of being, of expressing, of relating, of seeing. I think of the river when we had that huge flood this last winter, and how I looked out the next day at the river that I had looked out at for a decade, and I didn't recognize it, and how many new channels were forged, and how it just looked like a new earth. And I feel like the same is true for us, right? In our ecosystems, whether it's internal or family systems or social. Sometimes we got to burn it all down. Sometimes there needs to be a rush, an influx of energy, watery, fiery, whatever, to change things up. And when I sat with this person, both of us ended up saying as much, that even though the letter might have been painful for some of us, it also got things moving. And so what an interesting thing, right? To be someone who can hold both, right? That ouch, that hurt, and I'm fucking grateful because it's changing things. It's changing things in a way that's pushing me to grow, to be more compassionate, to unstick from this pattern that is harming or limiting in some way. So the meeting with this family member was absolutely, it was cathartic. And there's two things I want to talk about here. Remind me to come back to invisible strings. And oh wow, that I'm going to somehow connect to dental tubules. We'll see how that goes. And then the other is the mind fucks. Can I just get that on a t-shirt? Can I get that tattooed on my forehead? Is there a way? Can I get it? The mind fucks. The mind fucks. Like, how can I remember? I gotta remember this. The mind is so fucking powerful. And when we are young, especially if we weren't given the tools to negotiate, to compromise, to listen, to share, to have strong boundaries, then the mind was our fiercest ally in protecting ourselves in relationship. And I'll give like a little story, right? Give a man a name and he doesn't know anything. Give him a story and he'll understand anything. So you don't get invited to Carly's party, and it hurts so bad. Everyone has their invitation. They're all talking about the party. You don't get your invitation. And now over the next few days, everything Carly does is feeding into this belief that she hates you. She doesn't like you. She's so mean. Like, look at her. Look at the way she just looked at you when she walked by. She bumped into you in the hall. She obviously hates you. And so you stop eating lunch at that table. And you think, I'm not going to invite her to my birthday party. But a few days after everybody else gets their invitations, Carly comes up to you and she says, oh my God, I just found your invitation at the bottom of my bag. I'm so sorry. I hope you can still come this weekend. That story, it felt so fucking real. But the truth is, she was just late and rushing to class when she bumped into you. The truth is, she bit her tongue when she gave you that weird look that you thought was meant to just chew you up and spit you out. And maturation, self-awareness, awakening to me encompasses taking responsibility for the mechanism of the mind and how it works, and honoring that the stories it's making up are meant to protect you from going in the direction, right, of the pain, of the hurt, of the danger. But as we age, as we have the wisdom of experience, right, like we've learned time and time again, oh, Carly's not mean, she was just running late. Oh, that person at the store wasn't a jackass. They were rushing to get to their wife who was in labor. Like, whatever. We just start to learn that there are so many things that we aren't aware of, that we aren't seeing, that the stories in our head are often meaner than they need to be, and not giving people the benefit of the doubt. And so For me, right now, my whole family system had done that. We had all made up these stories about what the other people were doing or feeling or thinking. And they were mean stories. And they were stories meant to protect us. And so what I'm trying to really anchor in right now is that when I hear those stories, I want to acknowledge what they are. They're just made up stories. And I want to ask myself, hey, can you make up a better story? If you're going to make up a story, can you make up one that's a little bit more compassionate? And then I'm going to use the information from whatever story is there, from whatever energetic and emotional signaling I'm getting, to understand myself and my needs better. If I am hurt, is there a boundary that was crossed? If I am feeling rage, am I feeling like there's something I'm not getting that I need? Is there something I need to express, a truth I need to speak that I haven't spoken? Like, I want to get curious instead of getting bogged down and getting shackled up by these stories that are just stories. And I know I'm not the only one who does this, in my larger family systems, but also in my day-to-day. Even with my freaking kids, like, they're so disrespectful. Like, look at the way they're talking to me, like this, pushing his brother down, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes out later that, like, he's got like a little infection in his gums and it's been hurting him all day. And of course he's a little bit irritable. Or the kids aren't eating dinner and I'm like, eat your dinner, I work so hard, I want you to eat your dinner. But no one cares about me and blah, blah. And then later everyone's got, 102 fevers and they're puking. And I'm like, oh, it was never about me. And there's this book, and I quote all my family hears me talk about this book all the time. Maybe I should read it. Maybe I don't need to read it. But the book was something like, to take offense is the greatest sin. And I use this word sin in a much broader sense. This title to me means that to take offense is the greatest sin against yourself. It is cultivating suffering in your own existence. And if I've learned anything in 38 years of life, is that sitting here, right here with you, I cannot think of a single time that someone harmed me, that it was about me. Now, this isn't to say that it's no big deal that people are treating me like garbage or stealing from me or holding me down or blah, 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 because it's not about me. No, this is not spiritually bypassing. This is liberating. We'll talk about the energetic strings. For me, it feels so liberating because it means when it's about me, I feel it. I feel it like there's a little tube of energy running from my heart to them, and my energy is just hemorrhaging out that way. When I can recognize that it's not about me, it's like taking a little cork and plugging up. That was the wrong sound. Plugging up that energetic hemorrhage and being able to be sovereign and being able to be boundaried. And also being able to cultivate a little bit more compassion. And when people are met with compassion, that is the reflective energy that will come back to you. Speak to a king and a king arrives. I really believe this. I've been trying to think about how I can capture. I've moved out of the old pattern of yelling so much. So when I do it, my kids are a little bit shocked and jarred and what's going on. But I used to think that the only way I could get them to do what I wanted them to do was by yelling. But I noticed that it was just this they would do what I wanted them to do, but it just cultivated such an energy of chaos and fear in our home. And I watched them treat each other that same way. I'd watch them talk to each other that way, And I didn't want that. I recognized, I saw the mirror and I didn't like the image I was seeing back. And so I started to play with the energy of speak to a king and a king will arrive. Really praising the good and sweet things I saw. And even when there was a mess up, making up a better story, assuming that this was just a glitch in the matrix. You're just having a hard time right now. You are such a good kid. You have such a big heart. I know you don't want to talk to me that way. Go chill out, go take a walk, and come back when you're ready to be respectful, okay? I'm here. When somebody hears that, they light up. They want to rise to that bar. I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't want to rise up, right? And be the better version of themselves that someone is saying, I see. Doesn't mean that it always works, right? We can't save people, but we can nourish and nurture relationships so deeply with the spells we cast with our words. We talk a lot about, too, the boys and I, like, if you say to somebody, you're a jerk, you did a bad thing, you're a bad person, blah, blah, blah. Does that make them want to be a better person? Or is it more likely that they're going to get extremely defensive and have some hateful things to say back to you? It doesn't mean not having boundaries, right? It means speaking your boundaries compassionately. It means writing a better story in your head. It means being sovereign, right? Plugging up those energetic leaks and understanding the story in your mind is telling you something. It's useful information telling you something about boundaries that need to be set, about help that needs to be asked for, about truths that need expressing, about a million different things, right? So I want to remember to write a more compassionate story. And the other thing I experienced when I got back from this meeting with this family member, I realized the past couple of years, this family member is just a part of like a greater, right, family system that I have felt so pushed out of and longed so deeply to be a part of, to be connected to, that over the past couple of years, weekly, I have nightmares where like I'm outside the window looking in and tapping on the window and they're glaring or sending me away, or, you know, there's a funeral procession and everybody's there, but I'm the only one like trapped up in this attic and I can't get down, and I know they don't want me there. And I'm always trying to like talk and explain and let them know like I'm well intentioned and I want to be understood, and they're always so angry with me and pushing me out. So when I met with this person and I was met with compassion and I was met with understanding, I felt, I mean, maybe it's because of the mushroom. I see and feel things. I felt this like energetic cord that was just like hot, like to the touch, like it was burning, and it was pulling and drawing my energy from me. I felt it kind of cool off and seal off. And I felt like all of this unconscious energy that I had been sending towards these people that were pushing me out, that they didn't want me. I felt like I was like all of a sudden reclaiming that energy. And it wasn't some like visual meditation. I just felt it, saw it simultaneously when I was driving away from this meeting. And I thought about even losing our beloved John and how I've just grieved the pain and the loss of this human. I've been grieving so deeply. But in some strange alchemical way, I could feel he was our family. And we did everyday life with him. But after this kind of sealing off of this energetic cord, I felt to this side of the family, this healing, this balm, this salve, this reclamation on my end. I was able to see like this different perspective that John, when he was here, his body was just slowly shutting down and he couldn't get around and he needed help and he didn't have resources, and how so much of my energy, not just a little, but every single day thinking about, oh, I better make a little extra to feed John, gotta run this over to John, gotta check on John, gotta give him his tinctures, gotta get him his electrolytes. Is he okay? Is he alive? Did he drink too much? Do his cats have food? Whatever the thing was, he was always on my mind and heart. And even when I thought about traveling around the country in this bus, there was a part of me that was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go because he might need us, you know? And if I did go and left him here, there would have been a part of me that was energetically connected because I was feeling guilty or sad or nervous about leaving him here. And so I also thought, oh my God, like I felt this energy of like the gift of now the reclamation of the energy that I had been sending to this person unconsciously. And, you know, I'm in the yogic community. We talk a lot about energetic cords and the cutting of cords. And I just never really had like a visceral experience of that. Even when I'm in like a living or a visual meditation where, you know, we're cutting the cords. I'd never had my own real experiential reckoning with these invisible cords. And so this is where I'm going to bring in the dental bit. In your body, there is something called these dentinal tubules, and they work a little bit like maybe like the lymphatic system to clear out debris. And they're these tiny tubules, like little hoses, microscopic, that send out microscopic dewdrops on your teeth to push out pathogenic influences, right? And they are wonderful and they work beautifully to clear out negative energies. But when things are awry in your gut, when you start to get dysbiosis or too acidic in your gut, maybe not eating right for your body type, those tubules that were so wonderful, right, and protective, will start to now pull in, do the opposite of what they were made to do, and they'll start to pull in the bacteria and food particles and pathogenic influences. And I was thinking of myself as kind of this like multi-dimensional octopus with like, well, more than octopus, like just with all of these tentacles, kind of energetic rays coming off of me. And how when those tubules are working well, then they are beautifully designed to broadcast and to push out pathogenic influences and to make sovereign connections, where nourishing connections where they are to be found. But when things go awry, when there's dysbiosis, when the ecology of my being is not grounded and meditated and nourished, then unconsciously they can start to do the opposite. They can start to pull in, allow in these negative energies, right? And instead of like food particles and pathogenic influences and bacteria, now it's like bad fucking vibes. So that's the other thing I'm trying to just anchor in right now, that I have got to get, I mean, I worked so much on my gut. I feel like my gut and my teeth, they're harmonized, man. We're fucking doing this thing. We're great. And I start to notice really quickly, like if there's a sensitive spot or if my gut is a little bit off, and I find that equilibrium again. But in my energetic body and the energy that I'm putting out and the energy that I'm allowing in, I haven't had that kind of hygiene. I haven't had that kind of awareness. That shocks me. I don't know. I'm surprised. Like the person that I am is surprised by that. But I think I've been just like working so hard over the past decade to feel safe in my skin. I've just been layer by layer creating safety physically so that I could have more awareness and safety spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And so here we are. And this is the new reckoning. This is the new awareness. And I'm curious and I'm excited and I'm feeling playful about like, how am I going to, because just like with my gut, I had to like really get in tune and aligned with, at first I tried out everybody else's diets, right? I've been like vegetarian, I've been vegan, I've been raw foodist. And I tried all these different diets and they all made me sick. They were all too extreme for my sweet little body. And when I started to really look at myself energetically and look at myself like a snowflake uniquely, and notice really what foods felt nourishing, what foods brought me aliveness and vitality, and eat in the direction, like move in the direction of that vitalness, it started to just become easy. It became Wu Wei, effortless action. And then that fed into everything else in my life. So I feel, so like I've got to do a little excavating here and find out, I guess I'm getting right now, like move in the direction of what feels good and safe and nourishing. And notice, that's my job right now, is to notice which things are throwing it off. When do you feel overwhelmed? When do you feel scared? When do you feel tapped out? When do you feel like you've hemorrhaged energy? You know, that like a headache after you hang out with somebody? I'm so curious where this is gonna go. I'm so excited. I'll report back next week. Remember, your story, your healing, they matter more than you know. Every act of self-love, no matter how small, carries echoes, ripples, a vibration, a frequency that ripples out and cannot help but change everything and everyone it comes into contact with. Love yourself. Love, love, love yourself. Change the world. This podcast is here to share stories and spark curiosity, not to replace professional advice. Before diving into any psychedelics or practices we talk about here, check in with your own deep knowing, your healthcare provider, and know your local laws. Anchor in your own truth before reaching out for anything or anyone. That is the real power. And one more thing, I make this show just for you. If you're loving it, drop me a comment or review on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. Let me know I should keep showing up. Grateful to be here with you.